Hi everyone, James here from YQR with an update for you on what's been happening here at the airport as we get into the end of February. Well, if you've been seeing the news recently, you've been hearing a lot of buzz about NAV Canada and their control tower here at your airport. I want to tell you what that's all about. So back in November, our airport was notified that NAV Canada will be doing a service review for the airport and its control tower. Basically, they wanted to validate, do we need an air traffic control tower here at the airport? Now, in the month of December, as you can imagine, our airport was not happy that we were having this review at all. We asked NAV Canada to consider stopping the process because we're a capital city. We're a growing, busy airport, and in fact, prior to the pandemic, we were the 15th busiest airport in the entire country, serving over 1.2 million passengers on our peak year. In addition, our airport serves critical cargo, medevac flights like STARS, and of course, we have a whole host of general aviation, which complements all of the commercial service we once saw from Air Canada, WestJet, and Sunwing. As I'm sure you can recall, our airport is actively pursuing flights to the United States. And this is something we want to see once the pandemic's behind us and it's more than safe to travel. Now, the air traffic control tower is a critical part of our operation. In fact, the actual tower itself is built right into our terminal building, and it's been here for decades. We think it's absolutely a waste of resources for NAV Canada to pursue this study and even contemplate the potential closure of the tower. If our air traffic control tower closes, the impacts will be quite significant. Our airport loses what I call operational capacity. Simply put, it's the ability to do many things at once, which allows an airport to be busy efficiently and safely. I'll use a simple analogy. Right now, our airport, think of it as a 3-lane highway. The last thing I want to do is have those lanes reduced to 1. For sure, airplanes will still come and go with or without a control tower, but the ability to do enough aircraft in a busy period when you're juggling things like snowplows and runway sweepers, general aviation flights, and mixing those with commercial aviation, like your WestJet or Air Canada, becomes incredibly challenging to do so in an efficient manner that's going to keep our airport being busy and growing. The other challenge I have is as we're looking to make investments in our airport and to attract business to our airport, businesses who've chosen to locate here and ultimately in southern Saskatchewan that need air access are going to depend on an airport with great capacity and growth for the future. For all of these reasons, we've asked our Minister of Transport as well as NAV Canada to reconsider what they're doing. It's simply not reasonable to have a capital city of Saskatchewan with a growing airport, and rest assured we will be once again, once this pandemic's over, to lose our air traffic control tower and hamper our ability to fully recover. I hope you'll support us with this, and we've had a lot of advocates in our community, as well as a lot of people just reaching out to us saying, what can I do to help? If you'd like to help with this issue, I ask you to simply look up, and we'll have it in our comments at the bottom, but send an email to Minister Algebra from the government, who's our Minister of Transport. Ask him to step in and to reconsider what NAV Canada is doing and to ensure that he'll approve no changes to our air traffic control tower here at YQR. These are highly skilled individuals, and if our tower closes, it's going to be very hard to regain that in the future because of the costs associated with trying to retrain and move these individuals back to our city. I have a lot of respect for NAV Canada, and we've talked to them numerous times, but I sure hope they'll reconsider their position on this file. So what else do we have going on here at the airport? You know, it's funny, we've heard some rumors out in the community that some heard or thought we may be losing our flights to Saskatoon. I want to let everyone know watching here today on Facebook that that's simply not the case. You'll see though on our flight information online on yqr.ca or when you're here in the terminal, we've actually got some flights now coming in from Saskatoon. And the reason for that is Air Canada is trying to put enough load, which means passengers on each aircraft, before it goes to either Vancouver or Toronto. As I'm sure you know, our airport has right now been incredibly slow. There's lots of travel restrictions and advisories still in place. So by combining Saskatoon with Regina, it helps put more people on those aircraft before they go to a major hub like Vancouver or Toronto. WestJet is still offering service to Calgary on a daily basis, and I do remind everybody that the service is limited. So if you're looking for a particular flight time or connecting off, whether it be in Canada or potentially to an international destination, if you're traveling for essential reasons, please check their flight schedules to see what works best for you. But I can assure you, if there's a commercial reason, meaning if there's people who want flights out of Regina, the airlines are here to stay. We just hope to see a recovery in the near future. Speaking of flying, one of the things you should be aware of is if you are traveling internationally, many other countries require specific documents or a COVID test to allow you to enter that country. Here in Regina, if you are traveling abroad, outside of the country, you may be asked for that documentation here at the airport to prove you've received the valid documents you need to travel. Please check with the country's customs prior to booking your flight to know what those requirements are. But do expect to bring them with you in person before you board your flight here out of Regina, even if you're connecting through Toronto, Calgary, or of course Vancouver. So what if you're coming back into Canada from traveling internationally? Well, as you may have heard, the Government of Canada has announced new restrictions coming into the country. We'd encourage you to follow the link at the bottom of the page to the canada.ca website for all the details. But here's the summary. Prior to coming back to Canada, you now need a COVID-19 molecular test. These are often referred to as PCR, but there's a list of particular tests on the website, at least 72 hours in advance of going to the airport in the other country to come back to Canada. That valid test will be required before you can even board the aircraft to come back home. Alternatively, if you've had COVID-19, 14 to 90 days prior to your travel from that country, and you can prove it with documentation, they will accept that in place of a valid COVID test. Now, when you arrive back into the country, you will only be able to go to 4 particular airports. We don't have any international service currently and have not throughout the pandemic, but those airports are Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, and Montreal. But the new item is you will now be required to quarantine in a government-appointed hotel in one of those cities. And assuming your second COVID test, which you will be required to take during that time, comes back negative, you will then be able to connect back to Regina to then complete your quarantine process here in our province. Again, there's a very detailed explanation available on canada.ca, and again, we're going to have that link at the bottom of the page. Now, speaking of flights, we do have some great news today. If you haven't heard, Flair Air, one of Canada's premier ultra-low-cost airlines, is returning to our market. They started last year in August and operated just beyond Christmas. But unfortunately, due to the massive downturn in travel and the continued restrictions, they had to temporarily suspend service out of Regina, along with a number of other Canadian cities. Well, we were thrilled to learn that they're going to return on May 2nd. They're going to offer service to both Vancouver and Toronto, of course, major Canadian hubs, 2 times a week. They've got a brand new 737-800 series. It's what we call a low-cost offering. So just expect that it's a no-frills ticket that you buy. And if you have anything additionally you'd like to bring, like baggage or others, you do need to pay extra for that. And there's a lot of good information on Flair's website. Much like supporting Air Canada and WestJet, and now to have Flair back in the market, we certainly hope to see a travel uptick in recovery coming into this spring. Hopefully the COVID cases keep going down as we're seeing currently in the media, and I really, really hope with the vaccine rolling out and also other health initiatives we've been doing for many months, we can finally start restoring travel confidence and recommending travel in the future. But until then, if you are traveling for essential purposes, we do remind you at YQR.ca, we've got an awesome website with resources available to tell you what to expect here at the airport. And also when you book with your airline, you'll be given lots of information about your travels. Now, when you are traveling, whether it be this month of March, coming into the summer, or maybe dreaming about that beautiful winter vacation that you're going to want to take later this year, I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to ask all of you when you come to please consider supporting our airport merchants. They've been struggling for almost a year. Many of the shops and stores we have here have been closed or have very reduced hours. And the way to build that back up is by having customers like you support them. So when you come to the airport to pick up a passenger, if our coffee shop is open downstairs, please consider buying a Tim Hortons. Please consider visiting an amazing gift store called Rumors here right at the airport, very near the baggage carousel. The owner's name is Connie. She's got a wonderful selection of Saskatchewan goods, and I would really encourage you to have a check out that store if you haven't been there before. Now for travelers, during times that we have aircraft departing the airport, when you go beyond the security checkpoint, you will for sure have access to a full-service Tim Hortons with all the usual Tim Hortons food and drink, but you'll also often have access during the lunch hour to Skyway Grill. It's an incredible quick-serve restaurant that serves things like hamburgers and fish and chips and chicken fingers, and I really personally love the clubhouse. So I'd encourage you to give it a shot. Come have a beer. They sell it. They're fully licensed, and you can enjoy a burger and a beer while you're waiting for your plane. But I am asking you to please patronize them when you're here at the airport. And for those quick items, maybe you forgot your cell phone charger or you need maybe some toiletries, we've got an amazing Relay gift store on the second floor beyond pre-board screening. The final thing I want to say is we are almost a year into this pandemic. I want to thank the community again for all their support for the airport. You've probably heard a lot about our financial challenges, and they're all too real. But the big thank you I want to give is to the team here at the airport. Our custodial staff, our security staff, those who rent you a vehicle, the airlines, and the many agencies, including even our concessions, who serve you a coffee. Those agencies, along with RAA's staff directly, have been here throughout the pandemic to ensure your safety, your security, and that we can keep you moving to where you need to go. And I want to give a big thank you to them, and I hope you consider in the comments to also thank them. They've been right here on the front line at our airport since March, serving our community throughout this pandemic. Let's all look forward to a much brighter 2021. I can tell you everyone here at the airport certainly is. And let's look forward to restoring not only travel confidence, but helping our economy grow, because this airport will be a big part of the economic recovery and a big part in ensuring all of Southern Saskatchewan has the air access it needs into the future. Thank you, everyone, and we welcome your comments, and we'll be sure to answer them in due time. Have a great day.